And of course, it's not the city of Babylon. This is a spiritual city of Babylon. And it always bugged me. It's talking about a city with all the nations are getting rich from this city, this city, this city. And I'm like, man, you know, what city is all the world getting rich off of like that? There's really not a good answer. And then I look in Revelations 21, I think it is, the New Jerusalem's coming down. But it calls it the great city. You know how big New Jerusalem is? 1,500 miles square. So, like, okay, that's a pretty big city. So I believe Babylon is talking about, it's a spiritual city. I believe in the Old Testament it said that Babylon would never be rebuilt. And I'll get into that here in a second. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to give you some different outlooks, some different views. I'm going to give you my outlook, my views. And I want the Bible to make sense. And like I've said a lot here, if we run into a problem, it's a problem. If you believe a certain way and you hit some scriptures, kind of go against what you believe, you've got to change what you believe. Or you're just going to, the Bible's going to be a frustrating book for you. Revelation chapter 18. Here we go. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And note another angel. That's what a lot of people believe. Last chapter we talked about the whore of Babylon. I mean the great whore, the harlot. And I believe it's that Catholic Church. And I still ain't changed my mind on that. And when he says another angel, that tells you, hey, there's something else going on over here. And a lot of people believe the great whore, because they had her name Mystery Babylon, is the same as Babylon. It could very well be. You can read 17, 18 back and forth, and 19, and see if you think it's the same. I get more peace believing it's different. I think the great whore of Babylon's two different spirits that might be intertwined and all that. And I'll get it to why I think that later, but I'm going to teach it as Babylon is different than the great whore. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit and cage of every unclean, hateful bird. For all nations are drunk of the wine of her fornication. What nation has corrupted and influenced other nations in the world to commit fornication more than any nation in the world? Yeah. I taught here one night that I believe Babylon could be China, and I'll get the reasons why I thought that. I don't believe that now, even though it's a pretty good candidate if America's not. And but you know, I've heard stories, different preachers preach. They say, you know, you'd go into Africa, man, it was one man, one woman family, faithful, marriages was good. Not just Africa, but Africa was very heavily destroyed by America. They said that American music come in, American TV come in. He said, next thing you know, the family is just destroyed, nightmare. And a lot of countries in Africa right now, half the country, 50%, 1 in 2 has AIDS. And it came from America's culture, coming into their culture. And you go all over the world, no matter where you go to. You can go out in the middle of a desert in Iran, turn on the radio, and you'll hear American music. And you go to Japan, what do they play? American music. I used to work with a lot of foreigners. I mean, a lot of foreigners. I've worked with, you talk about a melting pot of people from all over the world. And a song would come on the radio at the restaurants stuff we worked at, and they know all the words. They come out there, couldn't speak English, nothing, and sing you every word. I would joke and lie to them sometimes. I said, man, don't you know you're saying bad words? They go, why you so liar? But America has absolutely engulfed the whole planet with its culture. But it's bad stuff. It's bad stuff. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. America gives money to every country on the planet. We give foreign aid to everybody. And everybody lets our TV in. Everybody lets our music in. And America is not banned in every country in the world. Now, the Bible's banned in a lot of countries. Like 13 countries, it's banned. A lot of them, it's death sentence. Now, I think 27, it's banned. 13, it's a death sentence. You get caught one of these. What are they so scared of, you know? And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Now, one reason I believe China was Babylon was because merchants, so much merchandise comes from China. But the merchants got rich through the abundance of her delicacy. So here, the Babylon is the consumer, not the seller. It's the consumer. And so the merchants have got rich off of us. The stuff coming in, the stuff China makes, they're getting rich mainly because of us. Most of that stuff they make come to us with our cheap Walmart stuff, you know. And I'm a dealer. I'd sell stuff for a living. And one, man, if I get something, I don't know what something's worth just by picking it up and looking at it. I have to look it up. Everything I get, I have to look up. And one way of finding it out what it's worth, you got to flip it over and see when it was made, what maker made it, where it was made. And it started out, the old stuff's made in USA. And then we bombed Japan, and we done the right thing. We have to build our economy back, so then everything's going to be made in Japan. And then everything's going to be made in Hong Kong. I really liked Hong Kong stuff, man. Hong Kong made some good stuff. And then it went to China and never turned back. So I thought Babylon could be China, and I'll get into a few more reasons why. But anyway, I believe right here, verse 3, the merchants got rich from Babylon. America has made, and you go to a lot of foreign countries, they'll have a big factory, and it'll be an American factory. And so Americans everywhere. I mean, we are all over the whole entire planet. America's the number one consumer in the world. Nobody even touches, nobody's even close. We are number one consumer. The number one seller in the whole world is China. Now, when you look up natural resources, China buys the most of the time, but it's just to make products to sell to us. So they're just kind of the middleman. And I got a picture right here in China. That's the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. They remade it. You know, one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Well, China remade that in Shanghai. And so that's one reason I used to think China could be Babylon. And they believed, back when Revelations was written even, that the first emperor of China came from Babylon. They believe like when Babylon fell, whatever, the emperor went around and started the empire in China. And the Chinese people believe that. They believe their first emperor came from Babylon. I was like, wow. Man, the stuff you research, the stuff you find out, the rabbit trails you get on. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. And we notice in Acts, the book of Acts, it talks about Christians in Jerusalem was selling their stuff, selling their lands, and made sure nobody was going without. And you didn't read that happening in Corinth and Ephesians and all that. It was happening in Jerusalem. And, you know, and everybody tries to use that as communism. You know, we need to, you know, give the government all that. Trust me, it's a million miles away from communism. I'm not going to get into that. I can get into that for a while. But anyway, it was in everybody's spirit to sell their land. You kind of need your land, you know. I mean, Christianity don't teach that you got to sell your property and give everything away. But the people in Jerusalem, for some reason, was doing that. And later we read they sold all the resources and they was going poor. And they were raising money for people, the poor saints in Jerusalem, because they were under persecution. They was going broke. But here's the thing. God was leading them out of there. God wanted Christians out of Jerusalem. So get out of her, my people. And so when 70 AD happened, and 70 AD is when Rome took over Jerusalem, they said like 1 million Jewish people were killed. They said they don't believe one Christian was killed because God had put in their spirit to get out. They didn't sold their land, they didn't sold everything. This was like 30-something years after Jesus had died, and ascended. So, very important when God puts something in your spirit that you yield to it, that you do it, that you obey, and not follow man, not follow your flesh. Your flesh and your spirit will be warring all the time. I've done things in the flesh. I've done more stuff than anybody I know. People used to tell me, man, you ain't afraid to try anything. And I wasn't for a long time. After a lot of failures and a lot of beatdowns, I kind of got a little more cautious. And starting this church right here, I knew I wouldn't start a church in the flesh because I seen people do that. And I just seen what a nightmare it caused. I said, God would have to call it before I'd ever start a church. And then God called me here when I had a thrift store here. He's like, you're going to start a church here, but not yet. And I was like, God, nobody comes in this building. You know, I had a thrift store here packed full of stuff, cheap, couldn't sell nothing. But God's like, this is going to be your church. I said, okay. But he said, do not start it till the time. And I said, well, we just have to, hopefully dollar store, Food City or something don't buy this land. And it didn't. Some people bought it, and some people just used it for storage for years, you know. But when the day came that God said, all right, I want you to start the church. I got out of bed. It's just a normal day. I got out of bed. God said, okay, start church today. Go find the landlord. I went to the store down there. I never caught the landlord there since, but he was there that day. I said, I want that building. He said, it's being rented. I said, I want it. And I'm not going to get the whole story again, but I mean, it's a pretty interesting story. But it's about yielding to what God puts in your spirit. And don't be afraid of failure. When I got out of the wrestling, and listen, there's people who got signed to WWE that wrestle for me. There's people who went from me to wrestling Hulk Hogan. There's people that I helped get into wrestling that's been to China, Japan, on TV, everything. And if I wouldn't have started it when I did or had it running when I did, they might not ever have made it. But you can't be afraid of failure. I went after that and I said, well, I'm going to try toy shows because I sell toys for a living. So I went and rented a building in Kingsport. It flopped. It didn't do good. I said, I'm going to give it one more try. I'll try it in Morristown. I rented a building in Morristown. Horrible. It's just a flop. And one guy told me, he said, man, I've done real good here. He said, you care if I said, well, I'm not running shows no more. I'm done. He said, well, do you care if I run in Morristown? I said, man, run all you want to. He got a better building and was very successful. So he started running toy shows. He got another building in Morristown, different one I got. This one. He had a toy show in Knoxville, one I went to, and I had to pay for it. Maybe have him get started in it. $20 a ticket and 4,000 people came. How much is $20 times 4,000? 80,000. And that's not counting what the vendors paid for the tables and everything. So, because I was walking out on a limb, it helped that guy. I ended up, knocking it out of the park in one day, $80,000 in one day. And from that one failure toy show, another group was there, some guys from Cleveland. It was their first toy show they ever sold at. They said, man, this was really fun. I think we'll start toy shows in Cleveland. So they started toy shows, successful, great. And I'm just saying, I've kind of got like a Forrest Gump life. I started a thrift store down there. It was awful, couldn't sell nothing. And this guy come to me, he said, I need a place to have a computer shop. I said, go upstairs, pay a third of the electric bill, and I can't remember if I charged him maybe $100, subleased it, whatever. Well, when I left the building, the landlord told him, said, you stay. Said, I want you to stay here. So somebody bought the building. So woman bought the building, she kept him in the computer room. And then he ended up making a ton of money. Then he came here and made even more money. He's one that had the thrift store that I bought. And he's in Morristown now. He's got an awesome store. And he told me how much he made last year, and he's really successful. I kind of helped by letting him have an office up there, kind of help him get a start on it, get a jump on it. And he's got a helper. It's just kind of like a nomad. It's just going around. Didn't really have a lot of family and friends or nothing. That's not even from around here. And he's like, look, you stick with me. I'll take care of you. Help him get eye surgery. He lives with him. He works for him. And that guy would have, don't tell him what would happen to that guy if it wasn't for the computer guy. I worked in a restaurant one time, and I was sitting there. I said, look, cook beside of me. I said, look, I was a kitchen manager. I said, let me show you how to saute this and make this pasta. He said, okay. So he started cooking it. And I seen, you ever remember when God's called you to do something, you get a revelation, or he put something in your spirit, you just get called. Like I could tell you today, I got called to sell toys. I can tell you today, God drawed me to get saved when I was a 9-year-old. And but I just seen the calling on that guy when he put food in that skillet. And he started doing that right there, and he flicked it, and he tasted it, and he went, oh. He's like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. And I just seen it consume him. And next thing I know, he went and lost like 100 pounds. He was real big, where he just was real lazy and stuff. And he lost 100 pounds. He started working. Now that guy owns the absolute #1 restaurant in Knoxville. The best restaurant I've been in my life. Probably clears thousands of dollars a day. He's got more than one restaurant. And here Forrest Gump's over there. Here I'm brokering a joke for a long time. And he's over there knocking it out of the park, the best restaurant I've ever been to. Stock and Barrel's the name of it. You've been there, haven't you, Victoria? There's an awesome place in it. And I showed the guys first saute skillet. And, anyway, all that's just saying, come out of her, my people. So, for her sins have reached into heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. You think America's got iniquities? It's kind of half and half, ain't it? Seems like we give more food to everybody in the world, but we also give more wicked to everybody in the world. We got more evangelizing, more churches go evangelize than anybody in the world, but we also got more wicked in the world. But guess what's going to happen before all this happens? We're going to be raptured out of here. After tribulation, we're raptured before the wrath. So we're not going to be here anyway. Hopefully none of us will be. And so when we're out of here, it's going to get a lot more wicked. Everybody's going to be happy Christians are out of here. Like, yeah, now we got them aggravating us. We can do what we want to. And so they're going to get a lot more wicked. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double in her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, to her double. And I believe after the Christians out of here, persecution is going to get pretty hard. During the wrath, people are still going to get saved. That's the purpose, 2 witnesses. That's the purpose of 140,000 evangelists and stuff. And God's still trying to get who he can to come to him before it's all over. And once you get the mark of the beast, you're done, though. And I'm telling you, I listen to, and I'm going to have to start cutting them out soon as we get closer to the healing service we're happening. But I listen to so-called Christian podcasts sometimes. These guys claim to be Christians, they love God and everything. But you can tell if the rapture came, they're not going to make it. They're not living a real good Christian lifestyle. They're still hanging on to a lot of the world. But they're going to still be around. And they're going to have to make the choice, man. Am I going to have to go get in all the way with God, or am I going to go with the world, take mark of the beast? And I don't think they're going to take mark of the beast. And so, but I think the people like that are going to get double persecuted. And so, and how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. Has America lived deliciously? I believe we have. And I sell stuff on eBay for a living. And I've had 8 or 9 thrift stores. So I'm in thrift stores a lot. And I sit there and I look. And I'll pick up a jacket. And I said, $2. I'll take this jacket. And I'll go buy it for $2. And I was like, man, this thing costs $100 new. Somebody went and paid $100 for this and then threw it away. And I do it all the time. I wore a jacket the other night that said Chaps on it. I got home, looked it up, it was like $100 new jacket. I gave like $1 for it, whatever. And I'm thinking, America lives so deliciously. Our trash, it was worth a fortune 10, 20 years ago. I remember watching a movie one time, this big rich guy was sitting up there and he's looking at this swimming pool and he walked over and said, look at my 8-track player. And everybody's like, ooh. I mean, stuff ain't worth nothing now. And that was like, people wouldn't go to church and they wouldn't spend time with their kids or nothing just to get all that stuff. Now it's junk. And the vehicles, you go to work, spend so much money for a vehicle, and then down the road, it's not worth nothing. I said a queen. Okay, she lived this, so much torment sorry give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and I'm no widow, and shall see no sorrow. America's never only been attacked one time, and that was by Japan. You know, we just sit back and think nobody's ever going to mess with us. Right now, a lot of the Americans are armed. If the invading army come in, they'd get beat down pretty quick. And but Japan invaded us, and it didn't do them no good. You know, it was a mistake on their part. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. When shall this come? How long a period of time? One day. Could that have happened 100 years ago? Nope, be pretty hard, wouldn't it? For the whole, say America is Babylon, which I believe it is. If it happens, if the end times happens right now. Now, if it happened a couple 100 years ago, it probably would have been Rome or something, you know. But right now, we are the Babylon. One day, the destruction happens. 1 hour. Well, one day, okay. Now we have the bombs and the technology to do that. I'll see on Facebook sometimes, a new weapon cannon can go through, and they just line up like 20 rows of iron walls and shoot the cannon, it goes through every one of them like melted butter. Man, the weapons we have today, it's just, and that's why you got to think, you know, when the one world government comes, they're going to have all the weapons. You know, we'll be out there with our shotguns and pistols and stuff, and they just have drones and bombs and tanks and everything, jet planes and all that. We really ain't going to stand a chance, really, if the one world government comes and it's wicked, or the rest of the people is not going to have a chance. That's why it says Antichrist is going to make war on the saints and he'll overcome them. Now, he makes war with the Lamb, and that's a waste of time. You can't overcome Jesus. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her, and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Oh no! America's fallen, it's burning, it's destroyed. And this is what they say, it's funny. Stand far off for the fear of torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. 1 hour. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. Why? For no man buy their merchandise anymore. They ain't crying because a lot of people just got killed. They're crying because, oh, we can't sell nothing to them now. There goes our money. We're going to be broke. And you know, I had a friend tell me one time, he went to fight, he was a Jew, and he went to fight against the Palestinians in Israel. And he went over and he said, man, you go down the street, I said where Holtz is at, and everybody's shooting at each other, bombs, snipers, and everything. And then 1 mile down the road, everybody's in the restaurant, eating, drinking, having a good time, bars and partying, dancing. He said soldiers walking, hey, how you doing? What you been doing today? Oh, shooting at people, you know. And he said they live life as normal. They said during like World War II and everything, you'd walk to work and people would be laying there with their heads blown off and like, you know. And they say you just get used to it. That's why wickedness was allowed to go on so much in the 1900s, because people just get used to it. And so even though all this chaos is going to be happening, people still going to be carrying on. They're not going to sit around in a cave. Oh, I mean, some people are, but, you know, they're just going to be living their normal, they're living their lives. What nation buys the most merchandise? USA. So again, that's why I believe USA is Babylon, you know. If it end times happens now. Now, you know, Dubai, that city was nothing 20 years ago. It was like Beaton Station. Now it's like one of the biggest cities in the world. That quick. So something might come out of nowhere and just... And what's the richest city? If you had to just pick a city, if it ain't a spiritual country, it's just a city. New York City, maybe. And there's a lot of people buy merchant. I mean, there's a lot of harbors and stuff that dock in New York City and Los Angeles too. But I don't know, I just don't see it. I just don't feel peace believing it's New York City. I don't feel peace believing it's Los Angeles or Hong Kong or Shanghai. I believe it's a whole country. And I believe so much in my heart right now that it would be America. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet. Now, I looked this up before. Each one of these I looked up. Who buys the most? China buys almost the most every one of these. But to make products out of them, sell it to us. And see, that China will buy stuff from, like, say, Iraq, and make some of that and sell it to us. So if we're out of the picture, then Iraq can't sell to China. You know, man, that's why the merchants mourn. Like, oh, the consumers, they're dead. We can't sell to them no more. We're broke. And all this stuff, it's not important. A lot of it, it was real important stuff. It was real fancy stuff then. Not so much important to us now. But it is kind of like gold. Now listen, America buys a lot of gold, even if it's real or not. This came from China. This was $3 and this was $3. It's 14 karat metal, but it looks like gold. Okay, so we do buy a lot of gold. And silver, we buy a lot of silver. This ring right here, it's silver. It costs like, what, dollars maybe? Something, it's awful too. They didn't put the diamonds in the right. So I'm just revealing to the world how cheap I am, man. Anyway, and precious stones and pearls and fine linen. Now look at our clothes. Everybody's dressed pretty nice. I'm dressed nice. Guess where? I guarantee if you pulled some of the tags, the clothes not so much. A lot of clothes are made in like weird countries and stuff, but a lot of it comes from China. Purple and silk. And back then, if you had purple and silk, you had something nice. But we still buy purple and silk stuff. You know, it's kind of symbolizing very nice things, very nice clothes, very comfortable clothes. And scarlet and thyine wood and manner vessels of ivory. Manner vessels the most precious wood and brass. Might be what my watch made of brass. And iron, you got a trumpet over there. And iron and marble. And, you know, this is nice stuff, but a lot of it does come from America and, you know, China stuff. The Washington Monument, Washington, D.C., guess where it was made? Guess where most of the marble come from? Rogersville. You know. So marble's still pretty nice to have. And cinnamon and odors and ointments, go to Walmart. The sections, they got all them incense and wax burnings and all that. And the health department, whatever, health and beauty department at Walmart. Frankincense and wine. Look at the alcohol America consumes. And oil. There's a whole half an aisle Walmart is just oils. You know, it really is. Oh, you look at this like, oh, that's stuff people liked back then. No, they still like it now. Now, fine flour, there's half an aisle Walmart of flowers and stuff. And wheat and beast. Who buys the most horses in the world? America does. And sheep. I'm not sure America's number one in sheep, but we got a lot of sheep and the horses. And when it says chariots here, I'm sure it's talking about automobiles. In America, I'm pretty sure got the most automobiles. And slaves, well, there we go. Bible's got a problem there. There ain't no slaves no more. 1 in 300 something people in America is in prison. What do you call them? Are they free? If they're not free, then what are they? They're sitting there making car tags for 30 cents an hour. And we also hear about sex slaves, human trafficking. It's pretty strong in America too. And souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all the things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee. And thou shalt find them no more at all. And I'm telling you, people, America is blessed to a curse. If you want to know who the poor kids are, find the most obese. That's usually the poorest. Our poor is obese. Think about that. Our poorest are obese. And we've got so much stuff to do, so much stuff to watch, so much stuff to listen to, that it's killed church attendance. And everybody said, well, we'll watch it online. You're not going to watch it online because you're strolling through Facebook, you're going to read all these articles, you're going to watch all these news clips, you're going to watch everything. In church, you probably ain't going to watch it much. When we put something on Facebook, most people watch it for a minute or two and then they stroll on down the road. There's so much on the shelf to do now in America that it's ruined us. It's spoiled us. The Bible talks about fasting. We don't fast like we need to. Fasting, if you don't change the filters in your car, the oil filter, what other filter? Air filter. Your car is not going to run good. Fasting, unclogs our filters in our body, and it's healthier. And if you talk to somebody that's fasted a lot, they always are healthier, head and shoulders above everybody else. But America don't fast. I told you I work with all the foreigners. Man, they come over to America and they just said, man, we cannot believe how obese everybody is. And you look at pictures in the 70s and stuff of the people on the beach, or in the 60s, of high school kids in the gym and stuff, not one pot belly, not one obese overweight person. Nowhere. Nowhere. What's happened? We're just spoiled to our own destruction. And that's why God said, you live deliciously. Now you're going to be paid back double worse. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand far off for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. That's symbolizing nice things. For 1 hour, so great riches has come to nothing. No. And every shipmaster and all the company's ships and sailors, as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. Okay, the merchants are standing afar off, looking like, okay, could they see America far off before internet, TV, all that? No. So we're here. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like to this great city? They've never been nothing, a country ever, empire, nothing like America. Never. I'm almost done. I want to get on some things so I get the last verse. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, and said, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea. By reason of her costliness, for 1 hour she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, ye apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her. So America probably going to be pretty much killing prophets and preachers and ministers and stuff like that once the first wave of Christians are out of here. A mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, cast it in the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Check out Jeremiah 50 and 51. And remember the law of double reference. Jeremiah 50 and 51 talks about Babylon. But a lot of that had already happened. You got to watch these tricksters that pull out Old Testament scriptures to back up what they believe. A lot of it's already happened. But a lot of that is referenced to in chapter 18, so out of 50 and 51. So read that over and over and compare it to chapter 8 and see what you think. And it talks about nations of the north come and destroy it. The literal city Babylon, God cursed it. It said it'll never be rebuilt. It'll never be rebuilt. You know, Saddam Hussein tried. It didn't do him no good. We went in there and wiped him out. And the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers. Name a famous Chinese band. Anybody? Name a famous Iraqi band. Name a famous Japanese band. Australian band. Well, maybe some Australian. You can't do it. They all come from America. The musicians, the harpers, the pipers, and the trumpeters shall be heard no more in all thee. And no craftsman of whatsoever craft she be shall be found more in thee. And the sound of millstone, that's kind of like factories and stuff, shall be heard no more at all thee. I don't know, your factory's going to be shut down. Hopefully you won't be there anyway. And a light of candles shall shine no more in all thee. If you look at the map of the earth, America looks like one big old lit up light, you know. You see like North Korea got no lights at all at night because it's just a poor, miserable country. South Korea is lit up like a candle. America is too, you know. But not after this happens. And the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall not be heard more than all thee. For thy merchants were great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Television, broadcast, what's some more? What? Spelling. More. It has to do with TV, broadcast, net. There's a lot of terms that if we don't watch it, it all has to do with sorcery. We don't even realize it. Channel. Okay. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, all that were slain upon the earth. Okay, now I want to get into something. Let me get a sip of water here before I get into it. This is going to be quick. I know my time's up. Okay. We read Matthew 24 when the Antichrist claims himself to be God, whatever, in the holy place. Then Jesus told everybody in Israel, not Israel, Jerusalem, get out. Okay. And then we read later the great whore, the 17, the great whore, which I believe is Catholic Church, is going to be destroyed. And it says that the Antichrist is going to destroy it. The beast hates the whore. So he destroys it. So the beast destroys Jerusalem or comes in and takes it over. And then he destroys the great whore. So I believe maybe, I don't know if he's going to be working with Babylon or if he's going to be against Babylon when it gets destroyed. But the Old Testament Jeremiah talks about all nations is going to come destroy it. But we read that the Antichrist, the beast, is over there getting ready for the battle of Armageddon. So the Antichrist is not going to be in America. He's going to be over there getting ready for the battle of Armageddon. And if you look, so you got two powers. You got the Catholics and you got the Zionists, Jerusalem, Vatican. Every Supreme Court justice we have, every single one of them, 100%, is Catholic or Jewish. Catholic, Catholic, Jewish, Jewish, Catholic, Catholic, Jewish, Jewish, Episcopal, which is Catholic. Okay? Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. I said, which Jewish or Catholic guy they're going to replace her with? Or woman? They replaced her with a Catholic, I think. 100%. Okay? Jerusalem attacked. That beast is not going to compete with that power. He's going to take that power over. They are powerful. Zionism is powerful. Okay? The great whore, Revelation 17. It says the beast is going to hate the whore. What happens to her? Destroyed. Babylon is going to be destroyed. Okay. America has got bases. That right there, all the dots, that's not counting the United States. This is offshore bases, army bases America's got all over the world. So either the Antichrist, if he works through the United States, look how much bases he's got. If he comes out of the United States. Okay? Why does America got all bases? Have you ever thought about why are we there in all these places? Okay. And tonight I'll be teaching on Revelation 19. But you look up Trump's cabinet. Most of them, almost 100% Catholic and Jewish. Joe Biden's cabinet. Almost 100% Catholic and Jewish. Why? Why ain't there no Baptists or nothing? Have you ever noticed, even though all the people at the media, it's all Catholic and Jewish. About all of them are Jewish, but Fox News, and it's Catholic run. All the Fox News hosts you see, about all of them's Catholic or Jewish or gay. And Bill O'Reilly, Catholic. Tucker Carlson, Catholic. Anybody know what our Fox News? Catholic. And you don't have no Christian media anywhere, hardly at all. That's prominent. You go to Walmart, 10 companies on every brand in Walmart. 10. I look up the religion of the people that run those companies. I give you 2 guesses, and you'll get it right. Jewish and Catholic, every one of them. They are powerful. And I've heard this coming out of a Catholic guy's mouth, so this ain't racist, even though Catholic and Jews are pretty much the same race as me. But the Catholic guy said, when you're in a town like Bean Station, say a bunch of Catholics move in, guess who our future mayors and politicians will be? If a Jewish community moves in town, guess our future mayors and politicians are going to be. Every time, everywhere they go. There's something inside of that religion, and the people accept that religion that gives them a spirit of control. They want to control the real things. America, the Christians don't have that. We convert. We don't control. We don't have that inside of us to control people and everything. So remember that. That's going to come in play. If you ever notice, and I'm almost done, that by every president we get, none of them were Jewish and Catholic hardly at all. Now Biden is. But they're all like so-called Christian. Now they're a very bad job at being Christians. But about all of them are Christians, but not of good practice. And they'll say like Muhammad and Jesus and all them's the same and all that. Keep that in mind. And I believe personally that the Antichrist, I don't think he's going to be Jewish, or he wouldn't go in there and destroy Jerusalem or take over Jerusalem. I don't think he's going to be Catholic, or he wouldn't hate the great whore. I think he's going to be like one of them so-called Christians and stuff, you know, because the Bible talks about out from among Christians came the Antichrist spirit and everything. So you got to just be alert, pay attention, don't be deceived. I'm done. Turn me off. I got to shut up. And